Why do we use the meds we use for frozen embryo transfers? I'm Dr. Jessica Rennick. I'm a board-certified OBGYN and reproductive endocrinology and infertility specialist. This is a follow-up to my video about why we use IVF medications the way that we do, and this one will focus more on the embryo transfer protocols.
So just as in the last video, everything that we do with IVF is based off of what happens in our regular cycles, which is up here on the top. To make it a little bit simpler, FSH leads to eggs growing, and eggs growing leads to estrogen. But this time, instead of focusing on ovulation and going towards egg retrieval, we're going to talk about how estrogen helps the lining. And when your lining sees estrogen, estrogen makes a nice thick endometrial lining, but we need more than that for the embryo transfer to be successful. What else needs to happen is that estrogen is going to cause that LH surge. That's going to lead to ovulation. The corpus luteum will form from the follicle. That's going to make progesterone, and progesterone is going to turn that nice thick lining into nice receptive lining. And this is what we need to emulate with a frozen embryo transfer prep. Now, there are a couple of different ways to do embryo transfer preps, and I'm going to talk about both of them next. So first I'm going to talk about the natural cycle, which is a little bit simpler to understand because it basically is this. As we're doing a, quote, natural state, we are just letting the body do the most of the work. And there's different ways to do it. There's like a fully natural cycle where we literally just let this happen and do the embryo transfer at the right time. There's a modified natural cycle that I can give you a little bit more information on. And then there's even natural cycles where we use ovulation induction medications like letrozole and Clomid. The key here is that we're using your body to make these hormones to make the nice thick lining and then the nice receptive lining. So your body is going to make FSH, which is going to make an egg, which is going to make estrogen, which is going to make the nice thick lining. If we use medications like letrozole or Clomid with the natural cycle, they are going to make your body push out more FSH, which will make eggs, which will make estrogens, which will make the nice thick lining. Next, we need the LH surge, which makes the corpus luteum, which makes progesterone, which makes that nice thick lining a nice receptive lining. With a modified natural cycle, we can also use an HCG trigger to supplement the LH surge and also help support the corpus luteum to continue making progesterone. And we can also use supplemental progesterone to help support the luteal phase and early pregnancy. And because it's only supplemental and not replacement, it can be vaginal preparations. The other most common is a HRT, hormone replacement type transfer, or a programmed cycle, and this is a little bit different. So again, it's obviously still your body, but in this situation, we actually want to turn your body off. In this goal, we are wanting to replace all the hormones. And because we're wanting to replace the hormones, we don't want any of this to interfere with what we are trying to do, so we need to suppress your own hormone cycle. This is most commonly achieved with either the birth control pill or Lupron, which essentially shut off the follicle stimulating hormone so that we can give the hormones back to you. Once we suppress your hormones, we give you estrogen to make that nice thick line. This can be by mouth, vaginally, or transdermally, and then we give you progesterone, and that is going to make the lining receptive. The difference with this replacement type protocol is that you have not ovulated. So your body doesn't have a corpus luteum that's making progesterone, which means we need to supply and replace the progesterone. So we need replacement progesterone instead of supplemental progesterone. And most commonly in this situation, it is injectable progesterone. And typically these hormone regimens are continued to 8 to 10 weeks of pregnancy because the placenta takes over from the corpus luteum or from the hormones we're giving you right around that time, which means it's safe to stop the replacement because the pregnancy is now in control. Easy enough, right?